All right. Morning. Today is Daf Tzadi Gimel. And Ksuvas. So the Mishnah starts off. Mishaya Nosui Shlosh Nashim. Ubase. So a man was married to 3 women and he died. I actually wish I had poker chips here today. I'll soon see why. No, mentions aren't as good. Poker chips is all of you have money. Yeah, because it's about money. So you'll see. So Shleish Nashim Umes, and he dies. Now, Ksuvasa shows Zumana. The Shelzu Masayim. The Shelzu Shloshmeos. All right. So easy to remember. One of their Ksuvas was 100. 200 and 300. Okay, and he died. The Ain Shamelamana, and all he has is 100. Now each one has a claim to that 100. The one with 300 says that's mine. 200 says that's mine. The one with 100 says that's mine. It could all be collectible for each one. Therefore, Cholkin B'Shava. They divided evenly.
17%.
33 and a third.
17% each one. Each one will get 17%.
No, each one gets it's 3 women.
3 women, no, but it's 100, 200.
No. It's not proportional. It's not proportional.
Chol
a third. Each one they divided a third because each one has a claim to that 100.
But it's not the same gap. Because one got 3 times more than the first. The other one got 2 times more.
This is not. But that's no. But even that, each one we have to get this down right. Each one has a claim to the 100. Just if I owe you $100 and I owe him $1,000, and all I have is $100. So each of you have a claim to that $100.
So you don't look at the power of the Ksuba. You look what there is in the
but the separate Ksubas, they're not in the same contract. Each one got married separately. Each one was married separately.
Yeah.
This one I owe 100. This one I owe 200. This one I owe 300. So each one has a claim to that 100. So therefore they divide evenly.
Okay.
Let's see the next case. Same case. All right. So now, if there was 200, same case. He owes one of them 100, another one 200, another one 300. Now, all he has is 200. Now, no, I understand. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think how to teach it. Yeah. So now we say. There's only 200. Shalmana Natelas Kamishim. The first one will take 50, and Shalmasai Mishal Shlosh Miyos Shloisha Shal Zav. Each one of them take 30, basically dinar zav, or 3 dinar zav, which is times 25 for silver, right? So is 75. So it goes 75, 75, 50. Why is that? The Gemara is going to explain. All right, we're going to go back in this case. We're sort of going to just breeze through the Mishnah and we'll explain why it's. But remember, it's 50, 75, 75. That's how they split this case. And Hayusham Shlosh. So it's 300. Don't give me that look, you go. Shalmana, you can't understand it.
No, the 75 is for the 200 and 75 for the 300, right?
70, yes.
And then 50 for the 100.
Correct. That's in that case. We'll soon see why. But now you guys get why I wanted the chips, right? It'll be very easy with the poker chips, right? Now, if it was 300, Shalmana, the one of 100, Notelas Kamishim, she gets her 50. The Shalmasayim 100. Mana Vishal Shloshmios, Shisha Shalzav, which would be 150. So it goes 50, 100, 150. Happens to be proportional, but that's not going to be the halacha. V'chein Gimel Shehiti L'kis. So too, 3 people sort of you put money in a wallet, right? Pichsku or Asiru Kachayu Cholti. To the amount they put in, that's what they go ahead and take out. We have to also understand what that line means. So now,
the order of who got married first makes no difference.
yes, correct, right? So now, the Rashi points out the way you're saying, because the next Mishnah has to sort of deal with the earlier ones. The Shleishtan Nichtamu B'Yay Nechad. Oh, it was all on the same day, right? I'm just waiting for the first Rashi in the Mishnah. It goes to the earlier one. She never earlier came over here. None of them have the time. The next Mishnah is going to deal with if there's right in terms of time.
The 3 of them got married at the same time.
Same time. Same time. The next Mishnah will deal with time. This one does not. Now let's see. Zok the Gemara. Let's see this case. Shalmana Naitelas Chamisha. So the first one takes now. Shalmana Naitelas Chamishim. Tlasa v'tasa v'tasa hudi isla. I don't understand. If we say like this, the second, we're going to the second case now. Skip the second case. The case that I didn't want to explain before. We said 50 and then 75, 75. Why is that? Now, so you say, well, if there's 100, all three of them have claim to the 100. So therefore, it should be, she gets 33, each one gets 33, and the next one is split 50-50 between the people who have claims on the second 100. So it should be 33, 83, 83, right? That's what the Gemara is asking. The Shalmana no tells Chamisha, plus V'tasa the Isla. So Shmuel, certainly two explanations. So Shmuel is going to be the first one. I'll take one also. Amar Shmuel, so the Shuvas Balas Masayim Labalas Mana Dinu Dvarim Ein Liimcha B'Mana. What's happening here? The guy with 200 is basically telling the girl. Did I say the guy with 200? Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. So the lady with the 200, he's dead. Yeah. So he's dead. So, right. So I was just thinking, guys. So the Shuvas Balas Masayim Labalas Mana. So the one with 200 is the 100. Dinu Dvarim Ein Liimcha B'Mana. I don't have a claim with you. In other words, on the first 100. So therefore, on the first 100, she's the one with 200 saying, I'm out of this. You guys can fetch me in this first 100. So therefore, it's 50-50. For that one.
For the two.
For number one and number three. Because number two is saying, I have nothing to do with this
I
one.
see. Okay.
So therefore, 50 is hers. So that's why she gets 50. Because basically, there's only two people splitting the other one. So where's this? She's a very nice lady. She says, I don't want, I'm not touching this 100. I'm not touching this 100. So if that's the case, right? Well, I understand. Why is that? It should be that the 300 one, right, should have got 50 from the first 100, and the second 100, she's splitting with that one, so she should end up with 100. So why is she not end up with more? So my answer is I only legabe the first 100. I felt bad for her. Thank you very much. No, thank you. Nothing. Perfect. So regarding the first 100, I removed myself. It's 200. 200. Regarding the first 100, she says, I'm out of it. Right. So therefore, take your 50, miss 100. So all of a sudden, the miss 300 is about to go ahead and take her 50 and says, no. That which I removed myself in the first 100 was only the gabe, the first woman. But the other one, 300, you're not off the hook. I'm with you 50-50. So therefore, after she takes 50, 50 is gone. There's 150 left. Each one takes 75. Right. Oh, total. Right. Because it's 150 after that. Right.
Oh, so she really, the master taking the second one, she takes the one of the second one.
So so 50 and then 75. Now, let's do the next case. Hayusham Shalosh Mios, it was 300. So he said the case of 300 was, it ended up being 50, 100, 150. So Shamasaim Mana. So the first, the one with 200 gets Mana. Shivim Chamishu the Isla, right? She should have, I understand. After there's the 50 was taken out, so right, so the other money, so she should have, right? She should collect the rest with her. So in that case, she should have 75 in that case. In other words, all she gets is the 75 like she had before, because now the third 100, she never has a claim to the third 100 because her claim was only on 200. And we just said the case of 200, according to the same case we had before, where she says, I'm not involved in the first 100. She should only get 75. In other words, her limit is up until 200. And so the other one should get the last 100. So it should be in this case, 175, 75, 50. So Shmuel, because this case is no, because that was Balas Shleish Mios, Labal's Masayim. When the 301 tells the 201, Ulabalas Mana answered the 101. I'm not in the first one. So the first
Who
one,
said that?
you guys,
Who said that? I'm sorry.
the 300 one.
Okay,
So you guys in the first one split it 50-50.
right.
On the second 100,
Mhm.
it's now the 300 and the 200 each have a claim to it. So
Right.
therefore they split the 50-50. So now
Mhm.
woman 100 still has 50. Woman 200 has the 50 plus the 50. She now has 100.
Mhm.
And then the 300 has now 50. And then the third 100, the only person with a claim to it is the 300. So therefore she ends up with 150. And Rav Yaakov and Arkud Mishmei the Ravina Omar, no, Reisha B'Shtei Tfisa is the same B'Shtei Tfisa. Two different cases. No, we're talking about where money falls at different times. Reisha B'Shtei Tfisa is what's going on in the first case. In the case of the Reisha B'Shtei Tfisa is the Naflu Shivim V'Chamishim V'Chat Zimna. So in the case over there, we're talking about there was 200, where it basically 75 fell to them. Okay, 75 fell to them, and then 125.
What?
So $75 or $75.
What, how much in the?
Now,
Wait, how much is in
In the
the
pot.
state?
One
Are we
fifty.
talking
it's
about?
going to be a total of 200,
200.
but they made two different tvisas, right? They made two different claims.
Is that the second case?
Huh?
It's the second.
It's the
Second case. No,
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was the 50, 75, 75. So that's going on. So what's going on here? So there was a 75 fell to them. So they took 75, right? And how do they take 75? 3 women, 75. Each of us take 25, 25, 25. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, then 125 falls. Now, the woman,
With the 200,
right? So she already took, right,
20.
25. So she only has a claim on 75 of the 125, right?
Mhm.
So each one of them have a claim on the 75. So therefore, the next 75 is also split a third. So she ends up with 50,
She
and
ended up with
therefore-
more than the third.
and the 2 and 3 each end up with the last 50. They split this way, which had the
Yeah.
poker chips, right? So they each get. Even better. Watch this. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, here we go. Fine. Each one of these are 25, right? So 100 is going to be this section, 200, 300. Now, first, each one of these represent 25 zoos, right? Here's 3. So if 3 fall, the first, so each one takes a third.
That's the first
Okay.
portion. Yeah.
Now, the next, all the 125 falls to them. She is only owed 75. So each of them at least have a claim on 75. So therefore, let's divide the 75 amongst everybody. All right, of this 125. And then the 2 left, each one of these have a claim to it. So therefore it ends up 75, 75, 50.
Right.
Now, next case. That was the ratio or whatever, the case number 2. Case number 3. We just did enough of the 125. And Seifa, now the last case of 300, B'shtei Tfisas, the Naflu, Shivim, V'chamisha, B'chad Zina, has, what's it called, fell? 175 fell. And then the 225 was seized by them. Okay, so what's going on here, right? So you just add 4 more.
How much?
Now
This is-
300. This is a case of 300.
300.
So, but it fell 2 different times. So first, it fell 75. So the wage split 75. Everyone has a claim for the 75.
Right.
100. Right. So now, then 225 fell. But of the 225, she is owed 75. She is owed another 175, and she whatever, 300. Fine. Now, so of that, so the 75, since each of them have the claim to 75, we'll go make the claim to the 75. Now, this one, remember, after the first one, she had a claim to 175, right? But 75 of it was already taken, right? Because that was just divided. So there's only, so there'll be 100 left that she's owed, because she was after the first seizure, she only got 25, the 200 lady. So she had a claim to another 175. 75 was just distributed. So now there's another 100 that's left.
Right.
That 100 is split 50-50, right? Where she has a claim. And then the last part of it, no one had a claim to besides the lady 300. She ends up with 300. And therefore we end up with 50, 100, and 150. That's going to Rabbi Yaakov. Fine. So that's a poker chips in these. Fine. Perfect. Beautiful.
And wait, the base, what was on the amount of what? The base.
What do you mean?
The initial
300.
one.
What do you mean? 100, 200, 300.
No, the initial funds that they had in the fund.
300.
300.
But it fell at 75 to
Right.
225. Now,
So we're
Tanya-
saying that the distribution of the money didn't all.
according to Rav Yaakov, it fell 2 different times, and that's why you have the funny
It
numbers.
was 150.
That's why you have the funny numbers.
150, 100. and-
Right.
and
But it sounds like if 300 would have all been taken at the same time, then
Then you
she would end
100,
up-
100.
no, then it would have been a 33 and a third because everyone has a claim to that. Then,
Right.
then the 200 would just be those two, and then fine. Now, Tani Zumish is Rabbi Nassan. However, this is Rabbi Nassan's teaching. However, Rabbi Yamir, Ein ani roya devarim shel Rabbi Nassan be'ilu ela cholkim b'shava. Rather, no. Even if 300 falls, each one get 100 because Lamaisa, this woman, even lady number 1, is not satisfied until she gets 100. So therefore, cholkim b'shava. Each one gets 100. So too, there are 3 people they put into a keys. So the Gemara says, Amar Shmuel, Shnaim Shetilu keys, Zeman. 2 people throw money in. Now they did not have an operating agreement. Let's be clear on this, right? There was no operating agreement. People will start, pulling up their LLCs and showing me they're operating for their corporations. But Shnaim Shetilu keys, Zeman. 2 people throw money into a purse, into an investment. We'll soon see what type. 100. One guy puts in 100. The other guy puts in 200. Haschar liyemtza. They divide it evenly. They divide the profit even. 50-50. Amar Rabba. It says Rabba. We start with
The profit specific.
the profits, right? So Amar Rabba. We start with the Shmuel, B'shor lecharisha ve'em lecharisha. Unless they were talking about they invested in an ox for plowing. Why? Because each one is needed. Right, each one you need their money to buy the one cow, the ox, right? So therefore, they're both involved in it. So therefore, the profit is both of theirs. That's what the Rabbi said. But let's say they bought it for plowing, the tzvicha, then all of a sudden they say, you know what? It's probably more valuable just to go ahead and sell it for its meat. Each one takes a portion. In other words, we're selling it now by the pound. So I paid for 2/3 of the pound. Now, when it's plowing, I don't care about the pounds. But over here, 2/3 is the plowing or mine, and 1/3 is his. Therefore, you divide it that way according to Rabbi. No, I feel even if you go ahead and you purchase it for plowing and it ends up you sell it for its meat, it's still 50-50 because your initial investment was placed there for the animal all working together. So two people go ahead and put money into investment. So you divide it 50-50. So my lab it says you do 50-50, even if the animal is going to be sold for by the pound for meat. And therefore it says over here 50-50. You just said, right, each one is a lifim of Rabba. 50 to the Rabba. So the answer is low. No, that which he says 50-50 is talking about a case of where it's it was purchased for plowing it and they make money by plowing it. But so what are you saying that if an animal was purchased for plowing, but then it was used to sell its meat? So each one gets proportionally. At the Tani Seifa, but if right? If each one takes each one has their own animal, right? I have some animals and you have some animals. Right? And then we put them together. Right? Then you take according to your amount, and I take according to mine. So you brought in 1 ox, I brought in 2 oxen, right? So therefore, each one of us get proportion because each one had their own ox working independently, right? Why do you have to bring a new case? Why don't you just say the initial case of 1 ox? But when do you go ahead and split it? If it's plowing. But if you bought it for plowing, then use it for to sell it as meat. You should say in that case the bigger chiddush. So the Gemara says, "You're right. How can I? Yeah, come on." When it's for plowing, that's what we meant. We meant that only if it's used for plowing, but if it's sold by the pound, right? Because it's more valuable as dead meat, literally, right? It is no different than a case of one guy, brings 2 oxen into a partnership, the other guy brings in 4, right? So Tanan, let's look at the end of our Mishnah. Our Mishnah seems to say 3 people that put money, or 3 people that put money into a vessel. This is how you used to divide it. It sounds like proportionally, right? 100, 200, 300, right? So that's the case there, right? So my love, pischa mamish, is not referring to profits and losses. Profits and losses are proportional. Guy puts in the case of 100, 200, 300. So one guy is 50, or the other guy's 33, the other guy's 17, right? Some Rav Nachman, no. Rav Nachman Baravua, lo, doesn't mean that. It means hasira, zuzi, chadasi, pichsu, astira, tzinisi. No, it means when it was up and down, it refers to the actual money that they put into a case and it was buying and trading, and the money becomes more valuable, right? Either better coins. So then each one gets their coins back. It's not referring to profits of a business. It's referring to the actual coins. So too, if the coin was devalued, so then each one gets proportion of the devaluing of the coin. Now we'll just do the Mishnah. I think we'll start the Gemara maybe on Sunday, Mitzvah Shem, but let's do the Mishnah. So similarly going to this topic, Misha, 640 Sunday, Mitzvah Shem. 640, yeah. So Misha Nasri Arba Nashim. Nine Mishnah. So a person married 4 women, right? And he dies. Harishayna, the first one, right? Kaidemes Lishnia. The first one, she goes first. She has the oldest ksuba. Therefore, her lien was first on his estate that the guy promised. If our marriage ends, I will give you. So therefore,
all the 4 in the same time?
No, different time. Harishayna, the Rishayna, right? So Rishayna is good out. So that's why the other Mishnah was talking about time, right? So the other Mishnah, that's why the other Mishnah knew it, because the other Mishnah that issue was not same, right? So Mishnah said Harishayna kedemes l'shniya. So she takes first, and shniya l'shlishis, and so 2 is for 3, l'shlish is for 3 is for 4. Rishayna. And by the way, when you take, you have to make a shvua that you haven't received anything for your ksuba yet.
All them have to.
The shniya, the shlishis. Let's see all of them. The shlishis are avis, and 3 to the 4. The haravis nifres shalab shvua. But the 4th one, she doesn't know what to swear to, so she takes without a shvua. However, banana zaymer. Well, what do you mean? She's rewarded, and now over here. Because remember, if the women die, right? So they have children. So, but they already collected their ksubas, right? When he died, right?
So why are they waiting? They're supposed to get around when they get divorced.
I mean, so they're collecting.
He said they're not.
He died. He married them.
All were married at different times.
No. They're married together. He was.
Adding more.
Yeah.
For the years of marriage.
Yeah.
That's a lot of wives.
Yes. So here, even though the husband still has an estate outside of the ksuba, right, which will go to the yorshim, so shouldn't she have to go ahead and swear to the yorshim? How do you take it? So Rashi points out we're talking about Yisayim who are gedolim, right, and they're not halachically Yisayim. Therefore, when you collect from Yisayim, you don't have to make a shul. That's why the Tanakama holds don't make a shul. However, Bananas holds no. Just like the others had to make a shvua, so too this one has to make a shvua because there still is an estate that gets divided after. And afila needs to have a shvua. So, however, if they were married, right? As Rashi points out, right? They're all before us on the same day. I to get married, right? Beautiful simcha. So you'll be a mechad. Kol kodemes lechaverta. Whoever comes first, afilu sha'achas. Even right, whoever was first, even on that day, was afilu sha'achas. Zaksa, she is zeicha. V'kacha yukais mishlayim shows how kulam yaitzis b'shach. But so nowadays, they're at the hours. One was in the morning, one was in the afternoon, right? So even the same day, but one was earlier by an hour, so she's considered to be the first one. And that's why I used to write the Shan Yushalayim. Kulam yaitzis b'shach. But if it's all the same time, the ain't sham. However, there's only elamana. Then they divide it evenly. They divide it even in that case because they're all the exact same time. There's no one that's happens to the other. Yeah, sure.